Actually, bear with me for just a moment, and we will delete that, and that'll turn on that camera. Good morning, Boogie with the Bull, Red Friday Morning Caffeine. I want to apologize to everyone watching Michael Anthony and those people that were listening on internet radio, but evidently the internet between Michael and I is terrible this morning, and I kept getting cut off and would come back and get cut off again. Michael or Randy Rhodes get cut off, and you know what? It's just not worth coming back. Message is the same as I said before Randy Rhodes joined us. This is Republicans versus Democrats, Democrats versus Republicans on stupid things. It's time that we get together. If you want a bipartisan Congress, it's time we get together and we do what is best for the American people, the citizens of the United States of America, and not worry about what is best for our political party. You can watch me on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel with a live chat. And let me slide down a little bit more. You can watch me on my profile here on Facebook. I'm going to keep my voice down because people are working in the house, homeschooling for my grandson. I'm not sure what my son is doing, and our daughter-in-law is 2 rooms down through very thin walls working on her stuff too. So come join me in the live chats again on my profile, the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And it's open discussions, but we are messed up as a government. Also, if you're on Facebook, it's Friday, which means that no tax on tips is going to start. Whether a tip is a service charge is going to start for the weekend. And that always opens up an explosive can of worms. Your tips have always been taxable as far as I am concerned. It's income, and income is taxable. Matter of fact, if you didn't get money for working and tips, and you got, say, 100 tons of bull excrement delivered to your house. I talked to a person at the IRS once who said, yeah, they get whatever percentage of income tax you pay in however you get it. So if you get 100 tons of bull excrement, call the IRS and find out how much they get and where they want it delivered. It has never been an issue before as to whether or not tips were taxable. It was just a question as to whether or not you paid the taxes on your tips. If you got it on a credit card added to your paycheck, the taxes were automatically taken out. If you got it in cash, left for you on the table or handed to you, you were responsible for paying the income tax on it. Same thing with drivers of mine, okay? If they got it on their paycheck, I believe it was taxed. If they got it in cash, it was up to them to report it and tax it. My drivers, when I had my own company, it didn't matter because they just got a statement from me that said what they got paid for the job. And it was the job, things that they got reimbursed for, like tolls, half the gas, and whatever. And because the tip came through me to them, they got taxed on the whole amount, gross amount of the paycheck. And personally, to me, that's the way it should be. And if you don't want to pay taxes on your tips and you don't want the house taking out taxes on the tips that are on credit card bills, then maybe you ought to just tell everybody you can't tip. Okay? Telling me that you reading this morning, somebody posted that they believe it should be 18% and it should be 18% before you even sit down at the table. That's a service charge. If you want to charge me 18% just to sit down at your table and be served by you, I'm not going to sit down at your table. Why? Because when I tip, it's based on the service I got, and it's the entire service. If I order a bacon cheeseburger and make it very clear all I want on it is bacon and cheese, and you bring me one that has mayonnaise on it, which I absolutely cannot stand, it is going back. And I will always play that I don't know whether or not it was your fault because I don't know what you told the cooks or what paperwork you filled out or what you typed into your iPad. So I don't know. But it's your fault because you took the order. And if I tip less than 18% or 20% or nothing because I had to send it back, next time, make sure you adequately write down my order so that you know how I want it and you get it out to me. Don't bring me a big tub of fries and tell me that, oh, hey, munch on some fries, some free fries while you wait for your burger, because by the time the burger comes, A, I'm not hungry anymore. We're not going home. It's going to ride around in the car all day, which I don't want. So, you have a simple job. Make sure you communicate with the customer exactly what they want and exactly how they want. Communicate it with the kitchen. Bring it back to the customer exactly how they want. Be pleasant with the customer. And hey, yeah, you'll probably get on average 18 to 20%. You might even get 25%. You might even get, I don't know, 100%. I had drivers that worked for me that had customers of mine that very often, if the ride was $150, they got a $150 tip just because of the level of service they provided. Some didn't get any tip because of the level of service they provided. If a customer complained about the level of service, the driver was either told, hey, smarten up and do this, or they got moved to another customer, or they didn't get any work anymore. A tip, I believe it was my grandmother who said, a tip is money that customers give you based on the service that you provided them, and they do not have to give you one. Okay? It is not a service charge. It's not an additional money that you are charging the customer for your service. And if you have to count it into what you make every shift, what you make every day, what you make every week, what you make every month to pay your bills, well, you're doing something wrong. Because when you're more worried about the tip than you're worried about serving the customer, you're not serving the customer. Or at least over service the customer so that they're going to tip you something. And by the same token, don't be upset if they tip you anything. I watched a day one night where we walked out, we were leaving, we left a couple of bucks on the table because they don't really do much other than fill your soda cup and take your dirty plate. And if they told me where I could fill my soda cup and leave my dirty plate, I'd probably do it myself. I go up there and I serve myself. I go up and take whatever I want. I go up and get a clean plate every time. So, you don't really do much. And half the time, 3/4 of the time, almost 99% of the time, when we remind them that we get a buck off for each of us, Donna and I, because we're senior citizens in the state of Florida, and it comes to the table and it's not there, you didn't do your job. So, I'm going to do my best to not take part in the Facebook tip discussion this week. As far as pardons, Biden pardons, executive clemency, and Hunter Biden's preemptive pardon, it appears there is an article in the Constitution that says you can't do this as a president of the United States. Either, for lack of putting it better, Joe Biden was stupid and didn't realize that he couldn't do what he was doing, and he did it anyway, or he just didn't know. And no one on his staff came to him and said, you can't do this. I'm just reminding you that you can't do this. And an article that I read claimed that Trump did it, and Gerald Ford did it, and other presidents did it. And, the bottom line is, if the Constitution says you can't do something as president of the United States, then you can't do it. If you can change the Constitution by writing an executive order, do it. The next president's going to come in and change it back. And you're probably going to get nailed for violating the Constitution. I mean, people get their hair across their behind when they get fact-checked by Facebook, and it's not really a fact check. Why aren't you getting ripped up with your representatives and your senators and your presidents who are violating the Constitution and getting away with it? You, as an American citizen, violate the Constitution. Oh, you get into all kinds of trouble. January 6th, you went to jail, which was wrong. You got a pardon, which was 100% right. And I hope written 100% right. And the thing that has to happen with a pardon that brings someone out of jail or keeps someone going from jail, that's only good. That should only be good until the next president comes in. And if there's any chance that the next president coming in could say, nah, come on, you did whatever, you're free. What? The next president could come back and say, no, go back. So you could spend the rest of your life going in and out of jail. Come on, people, we're smarter than that. We really are. We really are. Okay? And we should still continue with House and Senate hearings to confirm presidential nominations, but really all they are is one party sends one person to ask some specific dirty questions, looking to slip you up. The other side does the same thing or agrees with you 100%. It doesn't matter if it's the majority or the minority. They're both looking for something to screw you up, to keep you from getting appointed to what the president wants you to do. It's not really even about, in most cases, the nominee. And in some cases, the representatives and the senators are guilty of the same thing, and they didn't lose their job. Supposedly there's a slush fund in Congress that helps them deal with the costs of attempting to be prosecuted or whatever. Bullcrap. Really, bullcrap. The same rules for everybody. The Constitution doesn't care if you're president of the United States. The Constitution doesn't care if you are an American citizen. It doesn't care if you are, well, it does care. But the Constitution was written for American citizens. If there is something that you, as a representative or a senator, thinks needs to be in there, your job is to communicate to the people that elected you, and if they work hard to get it in there. If you can't, keep trying it. But if it's something you want to put in there to the people who put you in there, don't. Term limits right away. We need term limits today. We need term limits yesterday. We needed term limits in 2020. We needed term limits in 2016. We needed term limits in 2012. We term limits, and they pretty much need to be the same. It should have so much time in Congress, the House or the Senate, and you just when you met the number of years you can serve in Congress, you are out. Go get a pension, go get a job like the rest of us, pay taxes like the rest. Stop getting insider trading like the rest of us. Don't just go and get a job or retire and get your Social Security. Don't want to hear it anymore. How to hear and AOC doesn't know how she's going to support herself. Well, as I've said before, you want, you give me what you get paid, and I'll go to New York and I'll do your job for a month. Come to Florida and you live on what I get from Social Security. And you won't like it. I'm not asking for $174,000. $17,400 a year would be nice. Or like the old J.G. Wentworth commercial on it now. They act like they're doing me a favor by giving me, and then every year giving me a 2.5%, like $35. Then with a good Medicaid, they help you. They'll pay your Medicare, private insurance. They'll help cost you your prescriptions. They may give you more help where they will send to you on a regular schedule to help you. They'll help you get transportation to and from, non-emergency transportation to and from, and a lot of great stuff like that. Because sometimes all I want to do is get in the car to get my hair cut or my beard trimmed, but I don't want to bother my son. I don't want to bother my daughter-in-law, or at a craft show, and she don't drive anymore. So sometimes a little bit of independence, and I know how to use it. I don't know where we went wrong. I don't know where we went wrong. I really don't. But we got to do something. And we got to do something fast. Because you can believe that Donald John of the United States is going to change a lot of things, fix a lot of things for you. But there is no guarantee Vance gets elected that he's going to keep any of those changes. There's no guarantee that a Democrat is going to keep any of those changes because and it just becomes a game of President Trump wrote all of these executive orders. Harris or whoever Democrat will be in 2020 is going to change them all. Anyway, we're live on the Dave Globin profile over here on Facebook. Post in the newsfeed said if I was going to do a broadcast. And there were a lot of people watching the Michael Anthony broadcast. But like I said, just because of getting kicked off by the internet and back on. And when I came back on, they were gone. So I started talking over them. I see them, so I got to assume they don't see me. So I got to assume that what you see on your screen is what you have. Because in radio, you learn that the button to make music play or a commercial play or something, the news to play, you have to cover for that. You take over, you turn your mic on, and you look around you, piece of equipment. Or if you were playing, like I did, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., you go back to music to last for a while until you get that piece of property fixed. I am freezing, Robin. I understand. Sucks. I don't know what it is. What the problem is or where the problem is. I couldn't stay on there, couldn't make it to Pennsylvania without getting kicked off and on. My audio before we went live, what I said, we have audio. I'm watching it. I don't count that where you're watching it, we're freezing. So that just means that our internet isn't clearly making it to you. Or there are too many devices on in the house, or I don't really know. And I'm off so that I can do a broadcast. And if they are doing something because my son works at home, my daughter-in-law works at home, my grandson is homeschooled, those things are priority to me giving them additional bandwidth because they do their best when they can to give me the maximum bandwidth when I need it. So they are doing some work outside our door. Our street is a horseshoe. Their Jacksonville Electric Authority is updating some spillways, as I call it. Looked like I saw some conduit pipes that they might be putting wires in to get wires underground because that's a much safer way to do it. I don't really know, but you have to deal with what you have to do, what you have to deal with. Worse, I could have, if I wanted to, grab my and use whatever portion of the 10 gigabytes, of hotspot space that my wife and I get. But, you do what you can do when you're doing it. And if it gets really bad, then you either log off and you wait and you come back on and try to do it again. That's the best I can do. So, StreamYard used to be able to filter all of that out, compress it, and eliminate all of the freezing and all, and hopefully spike there. But I don't know what Restream does. So we do what we do when we can do it, because in my head, it's more important to try to come on and do a broadcast and get through a broadcast than it is worrying about the internet. Not trying to insult anybody in any way. Robin Brunson is a fantastic person. She lives in the Waterloo, Iowa area, and she recommends a coffee company, Fat Cup Coffee Company. And after she sent me a pound of their house blend, which I think was an Italian roast or a dark roast, I wanted to talk to them about doing a sponsorship announcement. A sponsorship announcement is different than advertising. You don't pay me. I would have said, hey, you guys have hats, you have T-shirts, you have mugs, ceramic and travel mugs. Give me, like, I don't know, a $20 credit once a month. And on every broadcast, I'll talk up Fat Cup Coffee Company forever. But because we started having technical issues or broadcasts weren't really tight enough to go to someone to ask them to do that, I never did that. But that's what I want to do. Don't want to even harp there. I don't want advertising because I don't want your money. I don't want their money. I don't want money because then they feel like they can do something. So, no, it doesn't really matter. I can afford to pay the live streaming. And if I can't afford to pay the live streaming bill all of a sudden, that may be the end of the broadcast. But we do the best we can with what we have, because that's what God told me to do. God said, don't worry about what you don't have, just do what you can. And when you need something better, I will make sure you get what you need. Got out of the Chromebooks, moved up to a Windows 11 Pro laptop, which pretty much most of the time does what it can. The Blue Snowball microphone was a gift. I like it. Does the best that it can do. It really needs to probably be this close to my mouth for it, but in this living situation, this studio situation, this desk situation, it has to be where it is. So I do my best. Delilah, 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 Dee Dee. Uh, do the best. Where issues are happening, you see me and you may not be able to. We're just going to end because and I can't figure it out. I'm going to start grabbing computer equipment and throwing it in a room. And everything good. Oh, we are. Let me see if my camera. We are. So I don't. Well, no, there we are. So the big boys and girls, they don't have problems like this because they pay, take take control of making sure their broadcasts stay on live, and they're usually running a backup system on their main system, and they get booted off. They can just switch to their and running. So that's all I can say. And the internet is working. I'll be on with Jerry Michaels and Company podcast. We have them on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We had Jerry on last night. And politics. Some nights it's not. Some nights it's tune and watch American Rebellion here on Facebook. And ask Jerry when on X. And don't ask him where it is. He said last night it's not on Rumble anymore. And I'm frozen. So minutes we've done, but I think it's been much longer because it doesn't count the he can't win. It's going to go on and off, and it's not the fault of the internet. Well, it may be the fault of the internet service that we have, but it is the fault of the internet company that we have, along with the internet states. Need some members you don't know. Asked God for Starlink, and he said no. So on that note, please watch the American Rebellion tonight, 7 p.m. 7 on this week, because I don't believe that shows, but if there is one, maybe there will be. And Rebellion tonight, provided my internet stands up. My internet doesn't stand up so that I can be on, then you probably won't see me. And I apologize. They're not silencing my voice, they're just silencing me from communicate to you. And if it becomes too hard to do, the best thing to do is just shut it all down and take a nap or eat breakfast or eat lunch or do something. Grab my green putty, and work on it. But okay, I'm going to jump off the broadcast so that the bandwidth can be divided up and used by. Thanks for watching, and hope we can do it again.